Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm in the kitchen here and I'm frying up 4 hamburgers out of that 3 pound pack that I got yesterday. I've got a chicken in the oven, bacon for dog food and for us. So that's kind of like a dual purpose bird there. Um, I hope that you found the egg video humorous because I thought that was absolutely hilarious. That now the biggest crisis problem on the border is smuggling eggs in. Apparently, it has raised 158%. And I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. So, I want to talk about my grandfather's video, the video I did, the FU video, to MAGA supporters who want to take away our democracy and side with Russia, Putin. You know, that was really hard for me to do. And I wasn't crying because I was hurt. I wasn't crying because I was angry. I was crying because I can't talk about that man without crying. I can't think about him without crying. And right now, my voice is starting to get that little thing in it. But I'm going to tell you something. That man was the most awesome man I have could ever want in my life. There was no other man. I don't care who you are. You were not that man in my life. But that man in my life, knowing what he did in the war and how he prepared himself to be the ultimate soldier in World War II, also he taught me how to be that person in the woods. My grandfather was just an amazing man to me. Um, if you were a kid and they'd say, okay, we're going to take all of your family, you can keep one person, most people would keep their mom. No, I would have threw my mom under the bus for my grandpa. That's how close we were. And I want to celebrate him in any chance I get. But I just wanted to make it very, very clear that I wasn't crying because I was angry or hurt. I was crying because I cannot talk about him without, getting choked up in here. And before I even did the video, I tried to read some of the article, and I just couldn't because I couldn't get anywhere with it. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there raw. This is me about my grandfather. And, I've been questioned before about my skills. Well, I think we're going to make it very clear today about the skills that I learned. And now you know a little bit about who they were. Now, my dad, being a Vietnam vet, and he had issues because of Vietnam. And my uncle as well. My uncle was also in Vietnam. Now, my uncle he was a gunner pilot in a helicopter. And they got shot down, I believe it was like 5 times. And he ended up getting malaria several times. And I'm pretty sure that's what fried his brain. God love him. But anyway, when we talk about the skills that we learn, I forget the fact of the 2 military men that raised me. And I wanted to share that with you because I want you to understand the depth of how much I was trained by these 2 men. My grandfather could slide through the woods. He taught me how to do that. Ginseng, golden seal, those kind of woods witch um, talents. People would call my grandfather from miles around, state to state, to go and witch water for them because he was so good at it. He could heal warts off of people, and I have figured out that I can do that as well. As a matter of fact, I really freaked out a family years and years ago. Yeah. But anyway, learning the skills to survive. We're talking about hand to hand. We're talking about sliding through the woods. We're talking about single shot 22 headshots on squirrels. I mean, just certain aspects of life that I've taken for granted by the 2 men that have raised me. You know, my dad, hand-to-hand combat, plus shooting and all of the other things. But my grandfather, I followed that man until I was, older and started dating or whatever. But learning skills from people like that is better than any education you can get on paper. Okay? When it comes to firearms, when it comes to going through the woods, knowing how to skin for fur or for food or for both. Spent a lot of time in the woods with that man. So when it comes to trying to understand where someone's coming from, you got to know a little bit about their history. And I thought I would throw that in there because I know that he would be so upset that democracy is on the line. You know, and for me to even allow that video to go out was hard. I didn't want anyone to see me in an emotional state like that. But that was real and that was raw because my love for him is more than anyone else on this earth or was on this earth or whatever. I think that it's very important to remember our history, to remember who passed on what to us. And I hope that people start seeing how important that is because they're not going to come back. They're not coming back. Once they're gone, they're gone. All you have are your memories, you have pictures, articles, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to say is if you have military in your blood, like I do. Now I don't even. I mean, my mother's side, my grandfather was in World War II. One of her brothers was a military man. So it's on both sides. But it's very important to understand how they would feel if they served our country, what they would feel if you were turning your back on our Constitution and democracy, something that they fought for, or your freedoms. Even if you go further back, Revolutionary War or the Civil War, who were they fighting for? What were they fighting for? And if you decide that they were fighting for democracy and to save our Constitution and our way to life and to keep our foes at bay off of our land, how could you even possibly, how can you, I don't understand how someone's mind could say that Donald Trump is the best thing in the world for our country. uh, there's so much misinformation and they keep propping him up, but in reality the things that he is doing right now is so counterproductive to our country. To side with Russia or Putin against a sovereign nation who has democracy? You know, people say, well, Zelensky needs to sign this peace treaty and the mineral rights over. Well, Putin has never, ever followed a ceasefire that they've made. Is it like 22? Maybe not. Maybe, I don't remember how many peace treaties they signed for ceasefires, and he never followed them. It's kind of like when you put your trust in a bank and they go bankrupt. I can't put my trust in someone who is out to destroy what my family fought for. And I hope you take that to heart of where I'm coming from. I'm coming from where they're coming from. My grandfather would never, ever agree with Trump. Not in any way, shape, or form. Because he would see through it too. So I think that sometimes it takes a little intellect to be able to decipher what's really good and what's bad. But when you start demonizing people for what they think and believe, then that's wrong. I do think there is a bit of evil in everyone who is okay with racism and sexism, and I think that some people are so conditioned through religion for patriarchy that they can't quite say, you know what, this isn't right. We need to stand up. We need to show what we want. And he is demolishing everything. And something in his speech, and I know a lot of people have brought this up, when he talked about getting rid of the bureaucracy of unelected officials. And here he is with Elon Musk demolishing our internal government, and he's not an elected official. So he would be an unelected bureaucrat, right? Just saying. All right, so I need to get all of this done. I hear Solomon barking. I might go let him out again since I've got some time here. Y'all stay warm, stay good, and remember, it's okay to be emotional. Just know where it comes from, because it didn't come from fear, and it didn't come from the anger. It came from just knowing that man that I was talking about. Y'all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. I got so much to do today. Bye, y'all.